Welcome to the Talents Bell. Talents Bell is the place where we are real, we are relevant, we are relational. I'm your guy, Mr. Talent. I'm at Avenue Suits this time. And today we're going to discuss about suicide ideation. How does someone come up with ideas to kill themselves? And I'm going to look into those perspectives. Bearing in mind that today we have so many people who are going through a lot of problems, so many circumstances, so many conditions that are making people to feel like they can kill themselves. I'm picking this topic out of an outcry from parents, out of an outcry from professionals, out of an outcry from schools, and from the community of the number of people who have got suicide ideation. And where do I start? I start by telling us what suicidal ideation is. Suicidal ideation is a condition of having thoughts or ideas to kill yourself. Somebody who's speaking about killing themselves, somebody who writes notes about killing themselves, somebody who always gives an opportunity to show the world like they're not needed in this world. Those thoughts are what we call suicidal ideation. And suicidal ideation happens to a few number of people. Number one, if somebody is suffering from mental illness conditions, they are possible candidates for having suicidal thoughts. People who have got chronic illness, an illness that have taken a lot of time before it's healed, they have a probability of thinking about killing themselves. Somebody who's coming from a dysfunctional family, they can think of an issue of not being people or human beings that are needed in this world. People who have been heartbroken by friends, by close family members, by workplace colleagues, they can feel like I'm not needed in this world. And the only thing that is required is I kill myself. People who have been using substances and drugs, they have a probability and a possibility of having thoughts of suicide. People who have got a history, they come from a family with a history of suicide. These are also possible people. But I also want to say that anybody in the world can become a person with suicidal thoughts. Because there's some triggers. Maybe going through tough situations, maybe going through an optimistic path, and then you feel like whatever you're looking for is not coming through. Maybe you graduated with a very good degree, your friends are getting jobs, and you're not getting any job. So that one can give you an opportunity to think I was not born to survive. Or even people who think like this song that I heard a few years ago, Born to Suffer. If your thought line and what you're building your mindset into is a walk into the path of an aspect of being born to suffer, then you are going to attract who you are. So these are some of the circumstances that will always trigger these things. A feeling of not accepted, a feeling of loneliness, a feeling of hopelessness. These are things that will always push people to have suicidal thoughts. What are some of the signs that will tell us that person A is having suicidal thoughts? In the tech world, in the days of technology, guys will write on status or they will write messages that shows like, I want to kill myself. Or you realize a guy, an individual who will be piling drugs They are not on drugs. Nobody has given them a prescription. But they feel like they are always buying drugs. And you're asking them, are you sick? They're saying, no, I'm not sick. So piring of drugs. And as I talk about the signs, you must always understand that some signs will not be seen. People will not see these signs. People will not identify. Another thing, a sign shows that someone has suicidal thoughts is being withdrawn. You're a good church boy, you're a good church woman, you're a good church man, you're a good church girl, but nowadays you don't go for fellowship. You're so active, you are hyperactive, but nowadays you're withdrawn. A sense of overdrinking, overdoing things. A sense of not being yourself. Always having a state of confusion is a sign of this guy might be having suicidal thoughts. And so once you start identifying those signs, you must go to another level and ask yourself, why suicidal thoughts? And I will say that suicidal thoughts are an aspect of crying for attention. Somebody writes on status, writes on WhatsApp, speaks on Facebook, speaks to an individual, goes to work and leaves a note, piles drugs. They're looking for someone who can come to them and listen to them. They are seeking for attention. And they are seeking for attention because there's something that is boiling up. There's something that in them is making them feel uncomfortable. They are not feeling like they are straight. They are not feeling that like they are good. And so these guys will always bring out these thoughts, speak out, give out notes, because number one, they want attention. And they're seeking for attention. They're seeking for someone who can listen to them. And I want to challenge Christians, because one of the things that I've realized is that when somebody is looking for attention, Christians will only use one model. Maybe come for fellowship, come for prayers, come so that we may destroy and kick out the demon. At times it's not the demon. I know at times it's a demon that is seeking blood, because if you have been having patterns of suicide in your family, patterns that have gone for a very long time, like after every amount of time, somebody dies in that family, that is a pattern. Or people with a certain lineage, they die after some times. That's a pattern. And that one needs more than listening. It needs somebody who can come up and silence. And so when church people are crying for help, we should understand that they're seeking for attention. And we should understand that it is our presence they're looking for. And so suicidal ideas come as a channel that is requesting for someone to listen, someone to come and bail out. And a suicidal guy is like saying, hey, I'm in prison. Can someone come and break the chains? Hey, I'm in a dungeon. Can someone come and lift me up? Hey, this is what is happening to me. I'm from a heartbreak. I've been heartbroken by 5 people. I have tried working it out. I feel maybe I was not born for this world. And that is the path that anybody with suicidal thoughts takes. They take a path that is against normal multidimensional perspective. And they have a perspective of maybe I'm not required in this world. maybe I'm not required in this family. And some of them, maybe it's a lot of push. Like for the students that I have ever met and they have spoken to me about suicidal ideation, at times is a lot of expectations from the parents. So parents can also be a source of suicide ideation. You push a child so much because you're a doctor, you're a pilot, you're a farmer. You want your child to be a duplicate of who you are. And so the push is too much. And when the push is too much, the child feels, I cannot hold this anymore. Or maybe the push from children. You expect them to behave so well, you expect them to be so good, but then the result is not according to your expectation. And so you're pushed and you feel like, let me go. At least you guys can have peace and do what you want. And so suicidal ideation talks of environment. So there are environmental conditions, the surrounding conditions, the surrounding things. Then we have the physical. And physical will talk about what is happening to your body. And maybe I'm a girl. I don't like my body image. And so I feel if my friends have a better body image than mine, I think I just need to go to give them space to show their body image. Maybe I'm a guy who is not tall, dark, and handsome. I don't fight these guys anymore. I think the next generation guys will be shorter than they are, because I don't really fight these guys who are tall, who are known as tall, dark, and handsome. And so you feel like, do I put on kiwi so that I may become tall and dark? And so you feel I can only give space to these guys because you're not contented. You're not contented. So the aspect of your emotions and the aspect of your mindset. Remember, I've said environment, physical, and then the inner internal environment, the way you feel and view yourself, the perspective you give yourself. And the perspective you give yourself, if it is negative, you keep on losing hope with yourself. You keep on disconnecting with yourself. And no matter what you're doing, and maybe you might be in the worship team, in a church, you might be the student leader in your school, you might be a very good parent, a very good professional, regardless of what you're doing. If the internal environment is volcanic, it is boiling, your emotions don't agree with yourself, you start now having a disconnect with yourself. And once you start having a disconnect with yourself, it's like the other world is calling you. Because anytime your soul, your spirit, and your body disconnects, then it's like the soul wants to leave the body. But remember, we are created for a purpose. Remember, we are created to have the triune of the body, soul, and spirit to work together. So the disconnect is brought about. And this disconnect makes you start now diverting from the person you're born to be. And you start giving yourself reasons why you should die. And so once you start giving yourself reasons why you should die, that is the time you start now making or thinking of thoughts of ways of how to kill yourself, ways of how to erase yourself from this world, ways of how to remove yourself, because you see yourself like you're worthless, you are hopeless, there is no future, you are not making it in life. You're not. You compare yourself with others and you see like, these guys are making it more than I'm doing. And in the next part, after break, I'll be sharing with us some of the possible things that can help someone with a pattern of suicidal ideations. We can help them to build, to construct, and to lift themselves up from their suicidal thoughts. So let's meet after a short break. May you sit there, kindly Keep on following and listening, tuning to Mamlaka TV, and also subscribing to Mr. Talanta Africa, because here is where we give real, relevant, and relational information. Talents Bell is your show. Thank you.